Okay, it's saying that we are live. So ready or not, here we are. Oh my goodness. Um, it seems like my camera is a little blurry tonight. I'm hoping that it doesn't appear blurry to you guys when you're looking at it. Anyway, alrighty. Uh, moving on. I am hoping that I am also that you can hear me. Can anybody out there hear me? Oh my goodness. Let me I'm gonna hope so. Actually, I better check. Hang on. All right. Well, oops. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna kill myself before I even get started here. Okay, so we're gonna just proceed. Um, so tonight I welcome. Um, I am Michelle Solis with This Must Be Ink. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. And tonight I just wanted to show you why I decided to purchase the glass mat. Um, it's called the Glass Mat Studio. And essentially it's just that. It's a glass mat that is 17 inches by 14 inches. And it looks like one of your pieces of grid paper that you would use to protect your work surface, but it's made out of tempered glass. So the fact that it's made out of tempered glass means that it's heat resistant. So it's going to be heat resistant, it's going to be scratch resistant. Those are two awesome things. So you can use your heat tool on this surface without worrying about it. It also comes with this little silicone mat that I don't know if you guys can see this little silicone mat that has some little areas here that you can use as a palette or one of your mini inkers will also fit right in here. Okay, so it'll hold that nice and steady. Oh, now I can't get it out. There we go. Um, and this is non-stick. So you can put a stamp pad here and it's going to stay there where you put it. Anything is going to be able to go on the surface and not move around for you. So it's good when you're doing blending and things like that as well. Okay, so that's what it comes with. I'm going to show you a little bit how I use this silicone mat. And then it also comes with a cleaning cloth. And this cleaning cloth is made out of the same thing that our chamois are made out of. But instead of being thick like a chamois, this is like a you're using your mat, if your mat gets dirty, you can just use this chamois, wipe your mat down, and it works just like a chamois. It absorbs a ton of ink, just like your chamois does. So I keep mine in a stamp case to keep it moist because it does dry out and it dries out faster than your chamois does because it's thinner. Okay, so those are the things that we're going to talk about tonight. Now, the one thing you do want to remember, let me grab oh, a microfiber cloth, is once you wipe your glass mat with your chamois, it can still have some water, some wetness, moistness to it. So you want to make sure that you get the moistness off of your glass mat before you set your card down or whatever you are working on so you don't create a mess. Okay? Okay. So those are two things that you should have with you. Couple things that you should have with you when you're working with your glass mat. Okay. So let me go down to our, yeah, sorry about the smacking here. I have a um, throat lozenge because I have been coughing all day long. So we'll see if we can get through this without having a coughing fit. Anyway, all right. So the first thing we were going to talk about, or I was going to talk about tonight, is blending. So this card front I made with blending brushes. So this piece right here is what we're talking about. I created this with blending brushes. And what I did was, here's my card base. And here's my basic white piece. And then what I did was I cut out a deckled circle. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining. I cut out a deckled circle, and that is going to go right here. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, Debbie, give me just a thumbs up so I make sure that I'm not silent again tonight. Okay, so I've got a deckled circle. And what I'm going to do is put that onto my piece of white, and then I'm going to do blending so that I'm going to create this background here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is hold down my circle. So I'm just going to take a little dot, little blue dot, just to help me out. And I'm going to stick my circle in the middle. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my pecan pie ink. So you can do two things here. You can use your silicone mat to hold your stamp pad, and then you can put your blending brush right into your stamp pad to then blend the color. So we can open that up. Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. We can open that up, and what you can do is just go straight into your ink pad to pick up color. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off my paper, and I'm going to then come onto my paper and start blending. Again, you don't want to ever start right on your paper first thing because you can get some blotchy areas. I think this brush, well, I was going to say it's still wet, but I don't think it is. Okay, so we're going to start off and then come onto our paper. And I'm just going to go around my circle. Okay. And what's nice about the glass mat in this instance is you can see ink still on your glass and you can pick that up with your brush. So you don't waste as much ink as if I was doing this on a paper here. Typically, my paper would be saturated with color around this surface that I'm working on. And sometimes that would be a problem because I would sit something else down and get ink on it. So I'm just going to go around. So the other way you can use your glass mat for blending is you can actually put some ink onto your mat, and then you can pick up that ink right off of the mat and then come onto your project. Oops. And I find that I actually use less ink this way. You can control the ink that you're using a little bit more. Okay, and I just want it to be really dark right around the edge of my circle here. This is a process. Blending is a process, and you just kind of have to keep working with it. until you get it to be the color that you want it to be, or be as saturated as you want it to be. I also find that if I pick up my color off my glass mat, I don't get that same dark spot when I go on to my project as when I start right into the ink pad. Okay, and I just want to even out this part a little bit. And we are going to trim this up. And it's not quite as dark as the one that I made prior to that, but that's all right. I think you get the picture. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now, what's so nice, this is the real reason I love this mat. I can move my project out of the way, and I can just wipe up that ink. Whereas if I was using a paper underneath my paper would now be covered with brown ink. And so if I put anything else down, chances are I'm going to get that brown ink either on my fingers or on my project. Okay, so I'm going to just make sure it's not still wet before I bring my piece back in. So the way that I did this one now was once I finished my blending, I did some speckles. So I did that with water, and I also did that with some Pebbled Path ink to give it a little bit of speckly colors there. So with the water, you can do two things. I do have a spritzer, a water spritzer that you can use, but mine right now has alcohol in it, so I can't use mine right now. So we're going to use a little spritz bottle that I've got. And I'm just going to hold it, oh, I don't know, maybe 10 inches, 10 inches away, and just spritz my project. And so now that has made this, it's going to now kind of, the ink is going to move and make little water spots on the paper. So you can let that dry by itself, and you'll just get little water, like white water spots, or you can use a heat tool. And when you use a heat tool, what's going to happen is that those areas that are wet, they're going to leave like a ring. And I want to keep this on both sides so I don't get too much bowing. That's going to anyway. But I'm going to trim this down. Okay. So what that does is it gives you a little bit different look of the little spots of water, get kind of a dark ring around them. And that's what I really like to see on my project. So that's how you would do your water. Again, you can just wipe that up. And that's another lovely thing about your mat, because if you were using paper, the whole thing would be wet at this point. Okay, so I can remove that. Oh no, actually I want to leave that on. What am I taking that off for? I want to do my Pebbled Path. All right, put that back on. We're going to get some, what did I do with it? 1 second. Okay, so we want some Pebbled Path re-inker. So my re-inker can go right in one of these little wells. I really just need like 1 drop. And then I can get a water painter. This has already got water in it. If you don't have a water painter, you can just use a regular paintbrush. But what you want to do is get some water. You can just dip a paintbrush in water. You want to put some water into your ink here. And you want to get it nice and wet. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm just going to pat it on my hand. And that is going to spritz onto my card and everywhere else. It's going all over my glass mat. And just spritz that where you want it to be, just to give it a little bit more texture. Okay. And so once we are done and happy with that, again, we can clean up our mat and anything else we dribbled on. Okay. So then I have my background, which is very similar to this background that I created. Okay. Okay. So then oh, did I bring paper towels? No, I just brought my thing. Okay, whoops. So then to clean this, we're going to just push, it says push on either side here. Push this and we're going to just wipe this on our cloth to get that ink out of it. Or we could use our chamois to get the ink out of it. And then we can put it away. And we can also use our chamois to clean this up. Just like that. So instead of having to get up and keep going to the sink, I can use my chamois. Okay. So that's that. So then we're going to cut this down. I think it's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 is what I made it. So let's go to, oh, what is it right now? It's 4. So we'll go to 3 3/4 first. And then 3 1/2. No, that's uneven. This is always like a game here that I have to play with myself to see if I can get this even. There we go. And then it's 4 1/2. Okay. These little pieces, if they're large enough, you can hang on to, and you can die cut out of these. So that's another little tip for anytime you're creating a background, you've got extra pieces hanging around, hang on to them because you could die cut out of those pieces. Okay, so then we can take this piece. Yep, that's gonna fit on there. Okay, so what I did here was I stamped on this then. So I'm gonna remove my little glue dot and I'm going to find my stamp. I used the cocoa flower from the Lovely and Sweet stamp set. And I'm going to just stamp that in pecan pie. Okay, which is the same color that I used the blends or the blending brush. And then I'm just going to stamp that in here. So I want it to go this way. It can center it a little better than I did last time. Oh, yeah, I think that's a little better. Last time I think I got it a little bit low. Here. A little darker, but I think it looks fine. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. Let's clean this up before I forget. And then we can get that glued together. So this is one of the things that I love my glass mat for, is blending, because it just doesn't make the same mess on your work surface. And so and then putting my, fingers and stuff, and I'm putting my piece that I've just created down, I'm not getting other um, residual color on it. Because I'm always going, where's this red coming from? And it's either from my fingers because I've touched something, or I've set my card down in something red. Okay, so we're going to just get this on here. And then we're going to get this on the card front. This is a backside of the Flight and Airy paper. With the pecan pie. And then we'll just mount this. On there. There you go. And so you didn't watercolor that image, but it does kind of feel like you're an artiste when you create your own background. So we've got that. And then we can just add some dots. I think I used these, which are the opaque faceted gems. I'm pretty sure that's what I used on there. And voila. Okay. Super easy when you use take your pick tool. There you go. All right, so that's one card with the glass mat and blending. Okay, and then of course hang on to your little piece and all your little extras, because you can do some more cards with those. So this little extra piece that I had left over, I used on another card. I used on this card. And so this was the little piece that's in the background here. And then this little, one of these little pieces I used for a sentiment, because it pretty much matches this, right? And then what I did here is I did some watercolor with another image from The Lovely and Sweet. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to create this little image, and I'll show you some watercoloring with my glass mat. All right, so let's stamp this image first. Now you can use some watercolor paper, or you can just use shimmer paper. Either one is going to work. I think I used the shimmer paper on the one that I did for this card. And I'm using this image, which is the almond. I think this is almond flower. Oops. We get that centered properly, would probably be better. Just fits on this block. And this is an E block, so this is just the right size for this image. Okay, so I think I'm going to use the shimmer paper since that's what I used before. And again, I used the pecan pie to stamp it. This time I'm going to turn my image over and bring my ink to my image because it's a little bit larger, and I want to make sure that I've gotten ink on every place here. So then I'm going to put this onto my paper, just like that. Okay. I am going to need still some pecan pie. All right. So let me think. I have to clean this first of all. And again, I didn't bring out my re-inkers. So let me grab those. I think we're using pecan pie. There's some old olive. I'm going to do petal pink. So pecan pie is the only color that I didn't buy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple different things. One, my petal pink, I do have. Put a little dot of that in there. Really, you just need like one drop. Do not need a lot. I'm very stingy with my stuff. Like, I just want to use the absolute minimum that I have to use because I like to keep my supplies for as long as I possibly can without having to buy new ones. So the pecan pie, since I don't have the re-inker, what I can do is just put some ink on a little block, and I can use that as my palette. Okay, so again, we're going to find our water painter. So your water painters, they come in a pack of 3. And you get 3 different tips. You get this big wide one, which I don't use a lot for backgrounds. I should work on that. And then you get these 2. You get one that's kind of medium and one that's very fine. And those are the 2 that I tend to use the most. So what I'm going to do is add some water to my pink and get that mixing up. And I'm going to come in and just do my flowers. And I want them to be very faint. I looked up almond plant, and I think they either white or like a very light pink. So I'm making mine pink. I'm just going to dab the color in here, and I don't even worry about getting right to the edge because it's kind of, one, it's going to blend in a little bit, and 2, if you have a little bit of white edge, I think it looks a little more natural. So I'm not worried about that. All right, so then I'm going to dry this off a teeny bit and pick up a little bit more and just go right in the middle. I want to make it a little bit darker right in the middle, right there. Okay, so then for the brown, the pecan pie, I can squeeze a little bit of water just right onto my block and mix it in with the ink, just like I did with the re-inker. And then can bring that to my image. Now, some people like to wet the image first. I don't know if one works better than the other. I just tend to bring the color right on my brush, right into the image. Okay, and we can color these. And these actually, on the actual plant, I think these are like the little seed pods that hold the almond inside. Um, when they're ripe, I think they're brown. And when they are not ripe, I think they're like a fuzzy green. But I'm making mine brown because they look like they're kind of opening up. So I think they're right. And we're making them brown. Okay. And then to get the color out of my brush again, we can just add water here, clean it up, and wipe it on our little towel. Oh, and I missed these little flowers down here. So we'll just put a dab of pink in those two. All right, so then the green. I'm going to use the little bit bigger brush for the green. And I will not take the time to color this entire thing for you guys. But what I did want to show you is if you start out with the lighter color toward the outside of the leaf, and then as you get to these other ones, as you work your way around, these will get dry. If you're very impatient, like I can be, you can dry them a little bit with your heat gun. But if you add a light color, and then over here, obviously I have a little bit darker because I haven't added so much water to that. You can pick up a little bit more, make it a little darker, and then you can go back and add, like to the middle of the leaf, some veins in there. And kind of blend it so that you get a little bit of variation on the color of the leaf. And then you can just keep going back and adding darker and darker color to your leaf until you get it the color that you want it to be. But my tip is to add color slowly so that you don't overdo it because you can't take it back out. So you just want to add the color in slowly until you get it to be the shade that you want it to be. Okay. So anyway, this one I did with the old olive. This one I did with garden green, and just depends on what you want the look of it to be. I kind of like it with the more subdued old olive color as well. Okay. And then what I did here was I just stamped my sentiment on a little piece of this to create my sentiment, and then I used this as my background with a piece of ribbon. Okay, so that is why I also love my glass mat for watercoloring, because right here I've got my little palette, and I can add water. I can just put water in over here, and then add water as I am blending. So I love this little thing because it just it's a whole nother tool instead of me having to bring water to the table or bring a little like my silicone mat or anything else. I have everything all in one place. And you can also add ink right directly to your glass mat. So if you don't want to use your silicone mat, you can also add right to your glass mat. You can add your ink. You can work right on your glass mat, and it's going to just wipe up right from your mat. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I love my new thing. All right, so I used it for blending. I used it for painting. Hang on, let me find my chamois. Clean up my mess here. Now you can see that the pinks and the reds, just like on your stamps, they're going to leave a little bit of residual color on your silicone mat. Because it's white, maybe not the smartest color for your silicone mat, but it had to be white because you have to be able to see when you're blending, you have to be able to see the color, your true color. Okay. But yes, you might get some staining on there and it's not going to affect it at all. It will not affect the colors that you're using, will bleed into the colors. All right, let's stick these back in here. And then I wanted to show you one of my absolutely favorite things to do. Okay. What the card that I showed the other day on Facebook was this one that I did this background. And I just wanted to show you how I did that. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. So I used to do this technique. Again, you can do it with regular paper. You can do it with a piece of watercolor paper. I used to do this technique with a block. So let me show you that too. Sorry. What I used to do, or what I have done in the past, is you want a block, and then you can take some color. Let's see. I think that was boho blue. Can I find the boho blue? No. No, cannot. All right, I don't know where he went. All right, so we're going to do Lost Lagoon. All right, so what I used to do is I would take my color and put it on my block. And I used to make a god-awful mess. So I would hold it way over here, actually, but I'm going to hold it. Let me put this down so I don't make a giant. Okay, so I'm going to just hold it here. And I would spray it. And then when it got nice and good, I would put it right to my paper. And you can see through here how can you see how it's changing in there? Because the paper's absorbing the water and color. So you would get something that looked like this. Once it dries, it's going to be a little bit lighter, but that's a really cool background. So now you can stamp over that with an image, which we'll do in a little bit. Let's let it dry. Okay, so that was one of my favorite things to do. But you really could only do an area like as big as the blocks that you had. But now, because I have a glass mat, I can do a large area and I can do the smushing technique, which is cool as well. So let's get another piece here. Okay. So what I can do is I can go directly from my ink pad to my glass mat. And then I can spray. And then I can put my paper. I'm going to bring my brayer in here as well. Put my paper down. and hold it, and then I'm just going to go over it with my brayer. And then I'm going to pick it up. And this is going to create a background for me. And that is what I did for this background. Okay. I think I smushed it a little bit too because I didn't like as much of the, I wanted some more color around the edges. So you can just kind of smush it into the residual color there and pick up some more color on the bottoms. Don't waste anything. Use all the ink. Okay, so then you get this type of a background, which I think is really cool as well. So on this card, I simply tore all the way around the edge to create that background, and then I glued some fussy cut pieces on to that. So that's how I came up with that. And then again, this is another little piece of my blended background that I did. I used another piece here for the sentiment. And then these little leaves, I also die cut out of one of those so that I got this mottled brown leaf that I could add with my other images. So kind of tied the pecan pie all together. So that's what I came up with for that. So that's another technique that I really love this glass mat for. So that's direct ink to glass mat. Where's my chamois? I keep putting them away in this little thing and I can't find them. Okay, so then we clean that up. So that's, like I said, ink pad to glass mat. You can also use a blending brush. So what you can do is take some ink on your blending brush, put it on your glass mat. Okay, so we've got some Lost Lagoon. And then I'm going to get some, what color? Maybe some Pretty Peacock. Just I'm going to get some Pretty Peacock. That down. And one more color. Since I'm going darker, let's do Shaded Spruce. Okay. And again, you could do a larger area if you want to. As much as you want. And then let's move this out of the way. Grab another piece. And where's my spritzer? Oh, there we go. Okay, so then we can spritz it again. And then bring our paper right there. You can use our brayer. You can use your fingers or your hand. The brayer is just nice and flat. Oh, I like this one. Okay, but you can pick up some more. Pick up some more colors. So I don't know if it's a lot different, but you can get 3 different colors on here. I did one with pink the other night. Where's my pink one? This one. Some pinks, kind of like an ombre pink effect there. So you can just play with it. I mean, basically, that's what your glass mat is all about. It's like put it down, mess it up, create a background. That's what it's all about. It's just a station where you can make everything messy and clean it up just like that. And you don't have to get up from the table. You don't have to go wash things out. It's so nice. You can just sit here and keep playing. All right, so we're going to just put those aside now. And what else did I have to show you? Okay, one more. Oh, you're going to love this. You ready for this? You're not ready. Okay, let me show you this. So the other thing that this glass mat is really good for is this effect. Like it's a shadow or a, hey, Courtney, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the comments. So you can do this effect. So this is not the mirror effect. This is like a shadow or a reflection effect. So I'm going to show you that. So this is the other card that I did with the little alligator. I'm not as crazy about that one because he's just an outline and he doesn't have any shading. So it just wasn't as effective. But this bear came out so great. Okay, so let's show you this. My little piece. So do I have a piece of white? No, I don't. Okay, let me grab one. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this bear. He's from Wildlife Wonder. You could do this with any of these stamps. It would be really pretty. We're going to use him because he's nice and big. Grab our bear. Okay, and this is super simple, but there's just a few things that you have to really pay attention to. So let me grab Early Espresso. I like him the best in Early Espresso. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to ink him up. Ink him up. Make sure he's good and inky. All right, and then we're going to stamp him upside down. We want to line him up with one of these lines. Get his paws even. You want to go directly down, and you want to try not to move it. Just press down, and then you got to come straight up. Okay? The glass mat has a tendency to want to slide. When you go down, if you don't go down perfectly straight, it's going to want to slide. And then you get mush. So just go straight down, press, and then straight up. Now you're going to put your paper down straight, and you're going to pick up your image. Now I learned this from Frenchie Stamps because this is her favorite thing in the whole wide world to do, and I don't blame her because it's awesome. So then you get this image. So that looks like a shadow or a reflection. So this is not a mirror image. It's not going to give you that clear image that you need for a mirror image, but this is going to be perfect for a shadow or reflection. So we just wipe him off. And then what you'll do is you'll come back. Make sure we're not wet here. Okay. You'll come back. You're going to ink him up again. And then you're going to just match him up with his shadow or his reflection. Now, I could have left a little bit more space in there, but I think that's okay for now. You're going to get the point. Okay, so now you've got this image, and all we need to do is create the surrounding background. And as in with this one, what I did here was I did grass and dirt with sky. But you could also do this with water. We could make a water background. And so I'm going to take, oh, here's my boho blue. Why couldn't I find it before? I'm going to do boho blue. Okay. Blending brush. And I'm going to start my water right across here. So the other thing about this, about the glass mat is you can see you're going to have color on either side here as you're blending across. And what's nice about that is you could just keep picking up that color. You just keep picking up the color from your mat until you run out of color. And then you just reload. So your edges are going to get a little darker, which is fine because you want this to be like a reflection of the water. Okay. And then we want to get some grass. Let's use our old olive again. Where did I put it? Oh, this is the only problem with my the only problem with my desk. Like, did I put it away? Is it underneath something? Oh, no, here it is. Okay. Here's some old olive. And a green. Is this green? This is probably. Get some of that. I think there was shaded spruce. All right, now we can do some old olive. Across the middle. And you want to kind of blend it into the green, the blue as well, because you're going to see the reflection of the green in the water. All right, and then you're going to want to do a little bit lighter color for the sky. Look, I already got a fingerprint on there. Balmy blue, maybe? For the sky. Just get a hold of the brush so I don't make a mess. All right, some balmy blue for the sky. You know what? I need to wipe this 1 second, because otherwise I'm going to get green. I'm going to get green in my sky. Wipe that up. Okay. All right, some balmy blue. Now for the balmy blue around the bear for the sky part, we don't want to go straight across. We want to go around him. Right? Because the sky is not like the water. It's not going over his reflection. We want to go around him. So we'll do some balmy blue. And I think we should probably add some boho blue as well. I don't know. Now it's looking kind of like a partly cloudy sky. Kind of like it. Got to cover up my little fingerprint over here. Yeah, it's kind of nice. It looks like a sunny day. Okay, so you get the drift. So that's what you're going to get, is you're going to get a shadow or a reflection image there. And then I had my little sentiment that you can put on the middle, but of course I lost it moving stuff around here. Um, but anyway, so then you'll get your either your shadow or your reflection here. You can do it either way as like a water, or you could do it as ground. So that's another cool thing that you can do with your glass mat, and it's super, super easy and super easy cleanup. So those are a few things that I have been playing with. Um, and I guess that's about it for for tonight. I will, I'm sure, come up with some other things and be able to show those to you as I come up with some other things. Um, but that was it. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the glass mat and why I decided to buy it. And if you're wondering, the way that you get the glass mat right now is by joining. So they are offering it as part of the join um, gift. Oops, which is if you want to join to become a demo. Now, you don't have to be a demo like I am, and you don't have to sell at all. You can simply be a hobby demo if that's what you like to do, is just create stuff and for yourself. Um, but regardless, the join package right now is $99 for $125 worth of products. And then you also get the glass mat, which is a $60 value with the silicone mat and the chamois. So it's a really good deal, especially with Celebration going on, because who isn't spending $100? I know I have a couple times already. So anytime that you're making a purchase of more than $50, you're going to get to pick something out for free out of the Celebration catalog. If you're spending more than $100, you're going to get two $50 ones or one $100 choice from the Celebration catalog. So, who's not spending $100? Anyway, so you're going to get $125 worth of merchandise for $99. You get free shipping, and then you get the glass mat. And if you do not decide that you want the glass mat, you can choose an additional $30 worth of product. So you get $155 worth of product for $99. So that's the joining bonus right now. I got one because I am a demo, so we got to pre-order them. There will probably be some left over afterwards as well, so they might be available. I guess it depends on how many people decide they want it right now. So that's it. That's all I have to tell you right now. Just keep tuning in to my Facebook page. I started some challenges and contests on my Facebook page. Courtney already won a prize. And so there'll be a monthly challenge and there will be a weekly challenge, kind of like a spotlight. Saturday spotlight is what it's called. And really, I just want to see what you guys are making. And then I'm going to randomly choose somebody to win a prize. And you don't have to make cards. You can make whatever you want. I want to see what you're making. If you crocheted a blanket, I want to see it. Did you make cookies? I want to see that too. So it doesn't matter what you're making. We're just all crafty people. We want to share what everybody else is making and get inspired by those things. So that's it for me. Thanks, Debbie. I'm glad that you liked some of the tips. And you too. Have a great weekend. So everybody, stay healthy and have a great weekend and stay crafty, my friends. Thanks.